Hi everyone, welcome to our Life Brain Hack, where we are on brain hack number 3 if you didn't see it, and that brain hack is laughter is a powerful medicine. Create a laugh book or save some of your favorite memes as resources. Now, this looks like it conflicts with the title of our brain hack, which is laughter isn't always the best medicine. And I want to talk about why that is, why I have made that statement. So I'm excited to be here and to have this conversation. So, first of all, I want to just go through logistics. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you want to make it easy to find my videos, or if you want to help us get to over 100 subscribers so I can name this channel, make it really easy to find the videos, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You'll see a little icon down in the corner of the video, or underneath the video, there's the red subscribe button. Subscribing does not spam you. All it does is make it easy to find both my content and content like mine. So I'm tagging things like the brain a lot and meditation a lot. And so if you like things like that and you subscribe to channels that have things like that you like to watch consistently, then you'll get more relative content that way. Now, if you do want to be notified, if you do want your phone to be pinged, you want to go ahead and hit that little bell notification icon. If you hit that, then you'll get a notification on your phone anytime I go live. You'll also get a notification when I upload new content. And I'm uploading new content all the time. All of the first sessions of my classes are on YouTube. I have a playlist there. And so you can go in and watch the first lesson on all those classes and see if there's something that you want to participate in. So it's a really good thing to go ahead and try there. If not, that's great. I do appreciate likes and shares if you give them. It just helps me out with the channel. But I'm just glad you're here to participate in the brain hack. So I do want to ask people to sign in. So I have both YouTube and Windows, or not Windows, I have YouTube and Facebook chat windows open so that you can let me know you're there and ask questions. So the goal of the brain hacks is going to be, they've been about 20 minutes long. Now I added 50 minutes because I wanted interaction time. I wanted time to cover people's questions. So from now on, this is how the brain hacks are going to go. If I'm done with my 20-minute presentation, everything that I wanted to get into the 20 minutes, and I haven't had any questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and instead of making the presentation too long, so that we can keep the videos concise for people. But if you're asking questions, I will stay on as late as 6:50. So I'll stay on the full 50 minutes if you have any questions. So this is a really great topic. And mostly this is a topic for how we interact with each other. People trigger each other. And this is interesting because I talk about being able to be beyond the triggers. But the truth is, what triggers us most is other people, because this is one component of our life that can be extremely unpredictable. And it lends itself perfectly to what I want to talk about tonight with laughter. So I had this experience where I was interacting with someone that was a person that tended to trigger me a lot. And this is the subject I've been on all week. I've been speaking with in my private sessions and connecting with people about this concept that we tend to judge ourselves when we trigger. And triggering is just a muscular reaction. It is not a choice. It is not a thing we control. And so many programs want to teach us that we tend to start to judge ourselves when we're triggered. And now we're in this brand new experience of dealing with a virus, of dealing with social distancing, of dealing with unpredictability with our job or our rent or our travel, or all of these things that were normal everyday occurrences that we don't get to participate in anymore. And within that concept, we're also dealing in Utah with things like earthquakes and with people's reactions to what's going on. There's huge debate on social distancing. We all have our opinions on it. But what the thing about humans triggering each other is multifaceted. There are the way humans trigger us that we love. There are the people we fall in love with. These people have triggered us. It is a positive sensory trigger that triggers all of those feel-good chemicals in us when we have connection with them, right? We have people have triggered security our whole life, right? Even in the primal states, people are a trigger for feeling safe or feeling unsafe, right? All of these circumstances happen, and this is I think this connects really well to talking about laughter, because this is a great example. We have these expectations. Speaking about people and this interaction and why it connects with laughter so strongly. So people are the things that have the most ability to affect us because they have individual freedom like we have. So animals can trigger some people, and if somebody's scared of dogs, they'll trigger when they're around dogs. But people, we can't necessarily control our involvement at the same level as we can with other things. And we're often taught to stay in relationship with people that might be triggering us, like family. Family can be super triggering, but we feel this primal call to stay connected. And so here's how it works. Again, we've talked about primal mechanisms. We have two things that are the base triggers of primal mechanisms. So those base fight or flight responses. One of those triggers is change. Everything is changed right now. So a lot of people have triggers. I was triggered enough to actually have some symptoms of being sick. I wasn't as sick as most people. But I did have symptoms, and that was because probably I'm experiencing low level triggers because of everything that's going on. Now, the second aspect, and this is what I want to talk about, the second aspect of our experience is this concept of tribe. Primates need a tribe to survive. So we are not pack animals. Humans are not pack animals, but we are social animals. And the most powerful placebo of humans is social. All placebo means is an external thing that triggers an internal chemical, right? So that is exactly what we're talking about here. Here's the issue. Two-part with humans. One is that humans assume that all other humans are having the same experience they're having. So when another human doesn't respond the way they would respond to a situation, they either think the other human is in denial or wrong or rebelling or whatever, instead of realizing that that other human has a whole universe in their head that's different from yours. We're all each our own person. No one can ever fully understand us, and we can't fully understand anyone. A lot of times we want to try and feel safe. That's just that familiarity thing. The second issue with humans is that we believe, until we can really learn otherwise, that our conscious mind knows. I had so many conversations with people this weekend during the expo about how the conscious mind does not program the unconscious mind. It doesn't work that way. Never in the history of neuroscience has the prefrontal cortex fired first. Everything in our prefrontal cortex came from our subconscious. Our subconscious mind is the genius. We need to learn to relax our conscious mind and allow the subconscious mind's wisdom to emerge. This is what emergence talks about. This is that we have this part of the brain that's genius that knows. So if I ask you to write something on a piece of paper, to write me a note that says, "Hi, Linda, how are you today?" If I ask you to write that, you tend to think you're consciously, or we as humans tend to think we're consciously doing that. We're not. Our subconscious mind learned to write a long time ago. It learned the alphabet, it learned the words, it learned how to control our hand, to be able to spell out the words. Just try and change your spelling. How arduous is it, right? This is the result of the conscious mind trying to change the unconscious mind. However, change your perspective of reality and your handwriting will change. People's handwriting changes over their life. I actually worked with someone who got certified in my program who's a handwriting expert. He worked as a handwriting expert, and then he discovered that if he taught people, so handwriting experts analyze your handwriting to say if you write small, that generally means that you have insecurities, that you're not a confident person. Confident people tend to write in larger letters. Where you cross your T speaks to your self-esteem. How you do or don't close loops talks about things. And handwriting experts use this information to analyze a person's psyche. And so what he did in his business was actually taught people to change their handwriting to change their psyche, which is a practice of concentration. So it's going to be triggering that prefrontal cortex, but it's going to happen much faster. You can just look at somebody, say that they have that they're in a coma and they wake up with amnesia. They might have completely different handwriting, a whole completely different sense of self. You can look at people with multiple personalities. Usually the handwriting of each personality is different. So that tells you how much ability the subconscious mind has over the conscious mind. Trying to write in a different way is an arduous journey for the conscious mind. So what does this have to do with laughter? I'm going to tell you. So because we're assuming we know and that what we're experiencing consciously is reality, and because we're assuming that other people want what we want, we tend to commonly make a mistake with laughter, and that is trying to get people who are triggered to laugh. Now, this can work for some people. More commonly, it won't. If a person is in a true trigger, if they're suffering a panic attack or PTSD or depression, there is going to be an inability to get them laugh. Now, a lot of times we want to get other people to laugh so we can feel better. They're triggered and we don't want them to be triggered. So if we can get them to laugh, then there's a relief on us because whatever their state is triggering us. But the issue is if we are triggered, laughter, we are not prepared for laughter. Laughter is an action of the prefrontal cortex. It's part of the other brain, parts of the, let's try that again. Other parts of the brain are involved as well. But laughter itself requires us to be able to activate our prefrontal cortex. Animals don't laugh. It's really funny because smiling that originated from primates and that you see in animals is actually a show of aggression. Animals that smile, there are dogs that smile, and now there's other primates that smile. And the baring of teeth, they originated from play fighting. So it was like dogs will play fight, and play fight is a training, it's a practice. But then humans evolved to the state where we smile and laugh. And now animals are mimicking us to evolve to that state. They talk about animals that use their prefrontal cortex are probably because of the influence humans have on them. So we're influencing our animals. One of the dogs I have is actually my granddaughter's dog who lives next door. It was my daughter's dog, is a pit bull. And pit bulls have one of the longer relationships with humans. They were bred not to fight. They were bred to protect children. So they would put the pit bull in the nursery with babies and toddlers to keep them safe because they're very loyal dogs. They will never turn on their owners, which is why horrible people fight them. Those people are just triggered too. But I have a very strong opinion about fighting dogs. But the dogs are loyal. Pit bulls are often used that way because of their loyalty. No matter how abusive their owner is, they'll stay loyal. But when you watch pit bulls, they tend to have human characteristics. They use their eyebrows. and they smile. They use facial expressions because they're around humans a lot. I even look at the paws on my pit bull, and they look like fingers and thumb. It was really fascinating to me in the beginning, right? So this is an effect we're having, but we have to understand that it's an effect because of the prefrontal cortex. So that's what's using laughter. What shuts down when we're triggered? So if we trigger a true fight or flight response, the prefrontal cortex is shutting down. And so because the prefrontal cortex has shut down, the capability, the ability to laugh, to engage in laughter is not there. So laughter is one of the best medicines out there, literally, to laugh with other people. So laughing by yourself. So if you sit and watch a show you like, or maybe read memes you like, alone is not as powerful. It's still powerful, but it's not as powerful as laughing with others. But people have used laughter to cure cancer and to build health. But there's a specific way to do it, and that's why I wanted to bring this up and what's so important. And one of the components of that laugh book that became a really powerful idea for me when I first started recommending those to some of my clients. And that is the fact that we need to make sure we're not triggered before we try to laugh. So if we're in that heightened trigger state, we can't. So we need to make sure we're at least relaxing the system. We may not have the prefrontal cortex fully engaged, but we need to at least be sparking it. So we need to calm our system first. Now, when I talked about creating a laugh book, what a laugh book is to gather memes or to gather jokes or a list of movies or comedy sitcoms that you like, that make you laugh every time. And then what you do from that is you just put it into a book or put it into a folder on your phone where you can scan through and laugh. But the best thing to do is at the front of the book is to put something that calms your system. So there was one person I had that I worked with that said she loved inspirational quotes. And so she just had inspirational quotes in the beginning. If a person is spiritual in nature, connecting with something larger than yourself, connecting with your whatever your spiritual faith is connecting with something larger to yourself. So whether it's a deity or other people or however that works, it's not being alone. And so adding some stuff that connects to that as well. If you're a strong believer, if you're not, don't use that. But it can be soothing things. Maybe before I do the laughter, I listen to some soothing music. Or I go and I take a warm shower to relax my body. Or maybe I'm going to make a cup of tea. A lot of times when I go to sit down to watch something like a movie or something, one of the most important things I do is check in. Old rock to Rage Against the Machine. I like a wide range of music, and that all connects to the mood I am in at the time. And so before I put on music, I decide, do I want to listen to Alanis Morissette, or do I want to listen to Cake, or do I want to listen to Bob Seger, or do I want to listen to Beethoven? They're all very different, and I want to know what my body wants. So one of the things about laughter being medicine is we don't want to use it to force ourselves into something we're not ready for, because then it feels like failure and we stop trusting it. So I used to work with someone, and every time I got triggered, so this was within the first year of running, of being a muse and running the Inspired Evolution Project. It was called the Self-Care Sanctuary at that time. And it was right after I began. And I triggered a lot. I'd wake up triggered, and I'd have to pull myself out, and then I'd worry about money, or can we do this, or should I have quit my job, or all of these different things. And one of the people I was working with always would come and try and make me laugh. And I literally wanted to choke her at times because I'm like, leave me alone. And it was really funny because I was teaching a class about that. about laughter is not a good decision for a phase 1 practice. If you're triggered and trying to get to rest and digest, laughter is not what you want in that moment. What you want in that moment is to soothe the system. And it was really funny because she looked at me in the group. She's like, wait a minute, are you saying that all those times I try and make you laugh? And I looked at her and said, yeah, I want to kill you because I'm not in a place where I can laugh in that moment. And this is this is where it comes back to relationships. A lot of time we assume because someone doesn't laugh or doesn't respond to us in the way we want them to respond that it's about us. And it really never is. This is why that saying in psychology exists, that what other people think of us is none of our business. Because what other people think of us and how other people respond to us has nothing to do with us. And I'll be honest, what you think of other people and how you respond to them has nothing to do with them. It has to do with this dynamic of how we exist within ourselves and what triggers us. And I want to go back to this concept I said where people are triggered. It's not our fault that we're triggered. And I want to address this because I've been talking to people about it all week, and generally there's a theme going on. So I want to share the theme with everyone out there. And that is the fact that the amygdala is a muscle in the brain. If they just think of it as a muscle. It's not specifically a muscle, but let's think of it as a muscle. Now, we tend to think of ourselves as failures when we trigger, when we react badly. We say, I wish I didn't do that. I respond this way, and I wish I didn't do that. And the truth is, it's because that muscle's strong. So we, historically as a species, so for however long humans have existed, have had an amygdala that responds to fight or flight triggers with fear. Right? It responds to threat with fear. Now, that muscle is very old muscle. It's like humans have eyes, and humans have noses, and humans have limbs, right? Even if you are missing any of those things, humans have hearts and lungs and kidneys and intestines. We have these by nature. We also have an amygdala. Now, humans going forward no longer need to use this amygdala the way we've been using it. So we have an overworked muscle. So we have this muscle that's really strong. The issue is the more we use the muscle, the stronger it gets. So if we stay in triggered states, we're really reinforcing that muscle. So this is why when we talk about advanced brain function, if you start working the muscle of your prefrontal cortex more than you work the muscle of your amygdala, your prefrontal cortex is going to be strong. And instead of your amygdala shutting it off, it can shut your amygdala off by advancing the brain function into the striatum and into the insula and working with these other parts of the brain so that your brain can know, I don't have to be afraid. I am not a primate anymore. I may be DNA-wise match them, but humans are changing. The same way humans learn to laugh. The same way humans learn language, complex language skills. We are a species that's advancing. And part of that advancing is that having a fear response to threat no longer serves us. There is no benefit to us. There are too many people, and to have safety and familiarity, we can't keep things the same. To have safety and tribe, we can't maintain the same tribe. People are going to come and go from our lives. And so we're always going to be triggered, and this is what's happened. This is why we're an unhealthy species. This is why COVID-19 can even affect us at all. If we're out of it and have a stronger immune system, we fight it off, just like I did inside of a week. If I had been at my peak self, I wouldn't have gotten symptoms at all. The virus wouldn't have been able to catch hold of my system because my immune system would have taken it out quickly. This is what we're trying to build. But we have to look at it as, I have to build a muscle from scratch, a muscle that hasn't really been worked. So if you're a person, for example, like I talked about the fact that we don't sleep for our body, we sleep for our brain. Because our brain needs to process the data that it interacted with, and it's like the data entry time. We have this brain that's this computer, and now we have all this new information sitting in that prefrontal cortex, and the hippocampus needs to file it all to organize the brain. When people have sleep deprivation, it doesn't hurt their body except for the fact that it hurts the brain, and the brain runs the body, right? It causes psychological breakdowns, not physical breakdowns. Think of somebody in a coma. The physical body, when it's not used, is bad for the body. We're stiffest when we wake up in the morning. So think about those muscles. Now imagine yourself sitting in a chair for the next year, never standing up and walking. Your legs will start to lose muscle mass. They will become weaker and weaker, right? Imagine you use a wheelchair and you have to use your arms to propel it. Your arms will get stronger and stronger. You'll get all this upper body strength and have no strength in your lower extremities. This is how it's working with the brain. You've not been using yet, because it's newer to humans, the muscles that give you advanced brain function. You were born with this muscle that's already developed and strong, that's the amygdala. And it's been proven we can shrink that amygdala. We can reduce the use of that muscle enough that it starts to do exactly what any other muscle in the body will do. It starts to atrophy. It starts to cease to be so dominant. Now, there's a lot out there right now in neuroscience where they want to talk about removing the amygdala. Removing anything that's inside of our body inherently is, unless that thing has somehow malfunctioned, is a really dangerous concept. They are using medications now to control the amygdala, but ultimately we don't want to get rid of it. We just want to stop it from being so strong, from controlling the rest of the brain. We want to be able to have these other aspects of the brain become stronger. And like the amygdala, because the amygdala is still the emotional body of the brain. Psychopaths are not connected to their amygdala. Their amygdala still functions. They still have fear. They still have pain. But their conscious mind doesn't connect. There's a disconnect between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. So they don't experience consciously their pain or suffering or compassion or any of that. And so that's a sign right there that, oh, okay, the amygdala, I still need it. I still need to have compassion, and I still need to have feelings, but to have those dictate my life is a problem. And so if we're going to use laughter to better that muscle, we want to laugh a lot. That's prefrontal cortex. This is the muscle we want to work. But you have to make sure you're in the right frame of mind. So set up a pre-practice. Set up a practice of, okay, I'm going to, before I go and sit down and watch my favorite funny movie, I've had a stressful day, so I'm going to go for a walk. Or I'm going to go get my favorite beverage, and I'm going to relax for a minute and maybe play a game on my phone. Or I'm going to call and talk to somebody I care about that really helps cheer me up gradually, right? Allow yourself that first practice, and then don't stop there. That's the other problem we have, is we stop once we've soothed the throb. So think of that amygdala like a stubbed toe, this thing that's throbbing. Well, once it's calmed down, once it's soothed and not inflamed anymore, we stop. We settle for rest and digest. Rest and digest is not good enough for humans. That is keeping us in a primal state. We've just worked the amygdala, and now we've turned it off, but we've not really worked any other muscle. So the other part of this I want to say is laugh. Make sure you laugh. Watch a show that's funny, or connect with people that make you laugh, or create a laugh book and spend some amount of time every day finding something that brings joy to your life. Follow someone on Instagram or YouTube that brings joy and lightness to your life. My feeds, so many times I hear people talk about Facebook being negative, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, because everyone I follow, everyone that's on my Facebook that shows up in my news feed, because I can stay connected with someone and not follow their posts if they're going to be negative. Everyone in my newsfeed is positive and uplifting and expresses from a beautiful place in their soul, because that's what I want in my world. So this is what we want to create, an ecosystem. So you don't want to say anybody else is right or wrong, or say it should or shouldn't be anyway. You want to say, what do I want in my ecosystem? I'm thinking about this a lot lately, is carefully. I have so limited time, and I have so many people, wonderful people in my life. I have so many people in my life. I used to be so lonely, and I have so many people now that I have to strategically choose where I spend my time. And I love people, and I'm there for people that need support when triggered. But for me and my support, so where I spend my free time, is going to be around people that are inspiring, that are uplifting, that are positive, because I want that. That's where my priority is going to be. I want an ecosystem that serves me being in my best place. If I'm starting here in a negative space and I have to do my practices to get here and then strive for more, it's a lot harder than if I start here, positive, uplifting, centered. That's where I'm starting. Then striving for more is easy and I can achieve a lot higher. So I'm going to be very careful to set up an ecosystem, a lifestyle that my personal time is managing a high level. It's maintaining that high space, because then when people out there come around that are triggering, I'm already here. And so their trigger is not going to affect me. If I'm staying here all the time, they're going to affect me more. So I recommend a laugh book. I'm getting ready to wind up. If anybody has any questions, post them now. If not, and you think of any, post them in comments later or send them to me on social media, and I'll address them in the next brain hack so you don't have to try and remember them. So a lot of times it might be after I sign off, all of a sudden you're like, well, what about this? Or what about this? Write those down and send them to me. Save them and put them in the chat on the next one. You don't have to ask questions about this particular subject. It can be on anything with the brain. So I'm going to be winding up. So if you have any questions, post them. If not, then I'll close it off in about 2 or 3 minutes. I just want to end with this. Create a practice to implement laughter at the right point. So have something that's a soothing something first. If you're not in the mood to just laugh, if you're in the mood to just laugh, just go straight into laughter. But if laughter seems impossible in the moment, you're not failing. There's nothing wrong with you. It just says the amygdala is a little bit triggered, so it's a little bit inflamed, and you need to calm it a little bit so you can work the other muscle, right? If you have a muscle in your leg that's inflamed, like for me this week, I haven't worked out all week because of having been where I was. I just saw something flash on my screen, and I don't know for sure what it was. Anyway, if I haven't had my exercises because of the sickness, I could barely walk across the room without feeling fatigued. So I thought, well, I'm not going to push my body and exercise. I'm going to do enough just working all day. And so I adjusted for that, right? Well, this is what's happening with the amygdala. So you can't do it when it's inflamed. So set up the practice that soothes it. Set up a list of things that calm you. And then tie in the laughter. Make a list of things that make you laugh, and try and make sure you laugh at least once every day. Hopefully you're doing it more than once. Laughter is amazing. I love to laugh. And so for me, it's a critical part of what I do. I spend my day, I might be working hard. I might laugh with friends throughout the day, but if I have it at the end of the day, I'm going to check out from work, and I maybe put on a show or something that makes me laugh. So connect to it. If you're not in the mood to laugh, give yourself permission to not be in the mood, but make sure you do something that improves your brain function. If you're not in the mood to laugh, do some complex reading. We'll be talking about reading next week and what to read when. This one my favorite because we're actually going to delve into phase 3 a bit instead of just staying in the first 2 phases. Learn something new, trying new things, careful going new places. I'm a strong supporter of social distancing. I think there are only 250,000 people dying in just a few months is a scary thing. And I think that it's not a much higher number because of the choices we've made. A lot of people say this is no big deal. More people died of the Spanish flu, but the Spanish flu didn't socially distance. We've socially distanced and a lot of people are still dying. So if you go for a walk, just wear a mask. But you could go geocaching still. Do something for your prefrontal cortex every day. Color with your non-dominant hand. Find some things to do. Work that muscle. Because being in a state where you can't laugh or being in a state where you're triggered will reduce if you're spending, that's why I say 20 minutes a day. Your life will get better every day. I always say, are you willing to have life be a little better every day? Because if you do 20 minutes a day, that'll be what happens. Today will be the worst day of your life because tomorrow will be better. And the day after that will be better and better and better for the rest of your days. No matter how good it gets, it just keeps getting better. So find that practice to do. And if it's not laughter, find something else. But make sure you're set up to be able to do that practice. It's not your failure if you don't feel like you can. Okay, I haven't seen any questions. There's a bit of delay, so if you post one now, I probably won't see it because I'm going to sign off. But I want to thank everyone for signing on tonight and for being a part of this. I'm really excited. Next week, after we talk about reading, we're actually going to dig in to the brain chemistry program. I'm going to actually go into some details I used to go into when we'd sit together. And this is an exciting time to do that. So I'd suggest if you're not already doing the Relief of Suffering class on my website, it's a free class that is all about this program, these phases I talk about. It's an amazing course. I'd suggest going and starting that now, being involved in it now, because every week I'm going to be following that and digging deep into it, making sure everybody really gets it. So thanks again for joining me. I hope everyone has a great week. I hope you remember to do your practices, to connect in, because your life will get better, I promise. I guarantee it. I've always guaranteed my services because I'm not giving you a method. I'm giving you information on how your brain works, how your body responds, and how to get the best out of both. It is inevitable. Your life will improve if you improve your brain function. So it's not maybe, it's not will it work for me, maybe it works for others, but not me. No, you're human, you have a human brain, it works. It will improve your life. So just remember to do your practices. We will have the meditation class on Sunday at 6 p.m. And until then, I hope everyone just has a great week, that you take care of yourself. Do your practices. This is a triggering time. Do your practices. You don't have to have stress. And so again, however you do decide to move forward,